Oh, hello. Had to join my friend here for the Knicks postgame. How you doing there, RJ? Yes, RJ the Crow is feeling good tonight. He's going to join us for the whole postgame. The least we could do is make room for him on this evening um, for yet another good game for RJ Barrett. His fourth 30-point game of his Knick career, fifth 30-point game of his Knick career, something like that. Whatever. He had a nice game. He had a really nice game. I would actually argue, considering who they played, considering how Jakob Poeltl is one of the more underrated defensive centers in basketball. He's really good. And in general, the Spurs were missing a lot of their guys, and RJ was getting a lot of switches, and he was getting those switches, and he was getting whatever he wanted on those switches. Like, this is still the Spurs. Lonnie Walker, not a great defender, but sizable body to throw at RJ. DeJounte Murray, obviously, all-world defender. And then, like I said, Poeltl. It didn't matter. And RJ taking ownership of the game in the third quarter there, that's the tantalizing stuff. That's the stuff that you watch it and you're like, no, of course he's going to be a star. How can this guy not be a star? And it makes you scratch your head at the performances that we get, on some of the other nights where he is not going like this. And not only is he not going like this, it's that he's trying to go like this, and it looks so different. And I think it is a reasonable explanation to say that this is what 21-year-old is, right? 21-year-old is going to have nights where he looks great on some nights and looks not so great on the other nights. I think if you're an RJ believer, that is the hill that you are dying on. If you are an RJ skeptic, you're saying, nah, the nights that he looks bad are a little too bad, and there aren't enough nights that he looks good for me. At this point, I'm probably somewhere in the middle, as much as I've gotten a reputation as a guy who has not loved RJ as much as some. I am still high on him. I'm less. I don't know. I may have already changed my stance since recording today's pod, or the pod that dropped today. I go back and forth on whether the Knicks are all in on RJ Barrett, and I think it's tough to have a conversation about whether or not the Knicks are all in on RJ Barrett without having a conversation about whether the Knicks are all in on Julius Randle, who I think, there's some other players who had very nice games. Emmanuel Quickly, I thought, was really good, better than his numbers would suggest. 12 points on 12 shots. I thought Quentin Grimes was really good. Fournier, his shots that he hit early and throughout the game, I think will get lost, but his 4 threes were massive. Alec Burks finding the range, very important. Mitch kind of a little uneven at times, but for the most part, really strong game. Taj good. Everybody had a good game. Obi didn't get his chances, but had a nice game. The other story in this game besides RJ is Julius Randle. How can it not be? How can it not be Julius Randle? I heard from someone who was there tonight talking about how all night long Julius was apparently chirping up and down the court, and just did not seem to be in a great state of mind. I asked the person whether he thought Randle was chirping at the refs. He said, nah, it looked like he was chirping at Tibbs, which would be, I don't know, that would be pretty astounding to me because Tibbs is about the last guy he has in his corner. I don't know what he has to chirp about. He's playing poorly. But boy, if I have one, I think what did I do? I did Christmas wishes. I did New Year's resolutions. If I have one polite request, it is January 10th. We're a month from the trading deadline. Just give me a rumor. Shams, Woj, I don't know, Chris Haynes, Mark Stein, one of our own guys, Ian Begley. Just give me a rumor. Just give me a rumor that the Knicks have quietly, subtly, ever so slightly explored whether there is a market for Julius Randle. I'm seeing some things in the chat. Jeremy Grant for Randle. We had a first rounder with the crying, laughing emoji. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get through. We have to get through. I'll get to the super chats. We could do some fake. We could do some fake Julius trade stuff later in the post game if you want. But I just game by game by game by game, he makes it harder and harder and harder to believe that he can come out of this. He is so far into his own head. And the thing that's astounding to me, and then I'm going to go over to the super chats. The thing that's astounding to me, and I really didn't want to make this all about Randall, although I had a feeling it might be because RJ was that good. I think I said it a week ago in the Indiana game. I think that was you could argue that was RJ's best game of his career. I think you could argue this game was even better. And if a guy who's 21 years old has arguably his two best games in his career, that should be the lead story. But of course we're gonna talk about Randall. The last thing I'll say is like I've poked fun at it a little bit over the last few days about how what Randall did the other night, what he said and his actions on the court and whatnot. If that was going to get him going, I don't give a fuck. He could come and yell, "Shut the fuck up" at me all he wants. He could do that to every Knicks fan. He could get up in all of our faces. Shut the fuck up, you. Shut the fuck up, you. Shut the fuck up. You can say it to anybody you want, buddy, if it's going to get you going. At the end of the day, it's a performance business. And when you don't perform and your body language sucks and your defense is questionable, and I feel bad even saying that because he had a lot of really good moments early tonight. I know he wasn't making shots, but he was making plays for other teammates. He was drawing doubles. He was making the right play. He was attempting to make the right play. I do believe still that his intentions are in the right place, but he just makes it hard. He just makes it really hard. And again, I want to be very clear about this. If they did ever trade him, I do not think the team would be better as a result of it. Although maybe if they had a healthy Derrick Rose and Kemba Walker, I'd be convinced differently. But he's important to what they do. He's still important to what they do. You could love Obi Toppin, you still have to admit that, and RJ and Quickly and everything, and you could still admit that Randall's so important to what they do. But it's so tough when he's playing like this. He's playing really badly. So yeah. Andrew is reminding me to remind you, get the likes up if you don't mind. Thank you everybody for coming watching in general, but definitely to anyone who is hitting that like button, gently tap the like button if you will. All right, let's get to the super chats. Here we go. Harry Donor starting us off. My main man, Harry. You are always so generous. Thank you so much for getting things kicked off tonight. I see Obi hashtag Obi Avengers and hashtag Free Obi from Blood of the Panda is alive and well, as it always is. We thank you for that. Stephen Cordero, what's going on, Stephen? Good to see you. For the RJ haters in the fan base who don't get to enjoy the day-to-day of a player whose number 9 will hang for the rafters, you have my sympathies. Yeah, man. If his number ends up hanging up there, boy, that'll be something. Knicks haven't hung one up there in a few years, so it would be nice to get another one. It's about consistency. It's about consistency, and it's about the behind-the-scenes stuff that I think we probably are not privy to. Because I'm not going to lie. Ever since Tibbs said what he said after that Nuggets game about maybe he needs to get back in the gym, that's part of it's been part of my calculus in the whole RJ thing. But yeah, man, if he could show consistency and he can keep getting better, then there's no reason not to root like hell for him and keep him here for a long time. We'll see if that's what ends up being the case. Hannibal Miles. Does Julius look like he doesn't want to play for the Knicks anymore? Good question. Finally, an easy win. I wish Tibbs would let RJ have that 40-point game as opposed to letting Randall play deep into the fourth. I think RJ just needed a breather. He played the first, 15 minutes of the half, and then it didn't make any sense to bring him back into the game when the game was out of a hand. I don't mind that. I don't think Julius Randle looks like he wants to play basketball for anybody right now. And what's interesting, interesting. This is from Stephen Bondi, by the way. Knicks win, but Julius Randle's situation only gets worse. His night ended with a frustration foul and a beeline to the bench with the crowd booing and then chanting for his replacement, Obi Toppin. Randle scored just 2 points, his lowest output as a Knick. I don't know. I'll say this. I think that all the stuff about like the notion of them trading Randle and it's like it's a bad look for the franchise, that's out the window. Because, I mean, that's the one thing that he did do 2 games ago when he said what he said, is it's like the whole thing like, oh, I signed here under the premonition that I was going to be a part of this foundation for a long time. You guys did me wrong. That's fucking out the window, man. How you're acting up and down the court and this and that, like that shit's gone. Say goodbye to that narrative if that's the way things go. Kevin, my main man, Kevin Danishevsky. God, I love Grimes. Such a huge shout out to Grimes. RJ's obviously getting 3 stars tomorrow. Probably leaning quickly for 2. Although Grimes is gonna be in contention to get 2 stars. I thought he was really good. A couple other players have to get consideration too, but I thought Grimes' defense is just so much fun, and his quick trigger and everything. So gratifying to see Tibbs stick with him after a couple rookie mistakes, and he looks like a guy who could be a good to great two-way player. I think he's a guy that looks like he's ready to play 25 minutes a night for any team in the NBA. Desmond Bane's been blowing up this year for Memphis. He was good last year too. Shout out former KFS podcast guest Desmond Bane. I don't think Grimes has that kind of ceiling, but like you talk about a guy who spent, Grimes was in college for 3 years, Bane for 4. High pedigree player, can shoot it, can defend it, pretty good size. Hey, Julito's in the chat. What's going on, Julito? I like seeing you on television the other night too. All good stuff from Quentin Grimes. I love the kid, and it's another. I feel like everything's going to relate back to the notion of a Randle trade. Like if they just moved off of Randle's money, they have other guys who could take the minutes here right now. Again, I'm not saying they will. I'm not even necessarily saying they should. I'm just curious what the market would look like. Brian Benjamin. Randle had iffy body language. Also, the Toppin chants are worrisome for Randle. I think Randle hates it. Like, there are players in the league who, if they were not going great and their backup was getting, like, their name chanted and, like, had a nice moment at the end of the game, which Obi had a couple nice moments at the end of the game, like, they'd be happy for that player. I'm not saying it's easy to be that guy, but if you are secure in your status as one of the best players in the game, and you know your value and you know your worth and you know how good you are going to be more willing to be like, yeah, I suck right now. Like, that's the thing. That's what this all comes down to. I don't want to make this some kind of philosophical discussion about life, but it's like every person in the world is either, do you have the ability to be honest with yourself, or are you a person that needs to lie to yourself? And like, I guess part of why I've been coming down really hard on Randle over the last few weeks is it has become very clear to me that he is the type of person that needs to perpetuate like lies in his own head to keep himself going. And I just don't care for those people. And I don't have a ton of respect for those people. Whereas the best thing for Randle to do right now would be to look himself in the mirror and be like, man, I'm just not very good right now. I need to figure out how to get better, as opposed to it's everybody else around me that's the problem. It's the fans that are the problem. How dare they chant Obi Toppin's name? If he was chirping at Tibbs tonight, it's the refs that are the problem. Everybody around me is the problem, because clearly you can't say, no, actually it's me. Not a lot of people could do that. And especially not a lot of NBA athletes, because again, that confidence is what gives them the ability to go out there and do the things that they do. It takes a really special player to be able to look himself in the mirror and be like, yeah, I'm not very good right now. It's part of why Russell Westbrook is so detrimental to his team. Because he's never been able to do that year after year after year. When if he did, he could have still remained one of the more helpful players in basketball, but he can't. No. But I digress. CT Pittman, what's going on, CT? Always a pleasure. After listening to the pod this morning, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this. I might take that bet on RJ. Everybody should take that bet on RJ. Man, I'm gonna be homeless. If I actually bet anybody money on that at this point. Just kidding. Good stuff as always. Yeah, man. I just, I'm always honest with you guys, and it was what I was thinking in the moment. I may have already changed my mind. For anybody, by the way, who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I predicted that Emmanuel Quickly would break the Charlie Ward curse and not RJ Barrett, and that I thought that if I had money to put on it right now, RJ Barrett would get traded within the next year and a half, because I'm not sold that the Knicks are 100% sold on him. Or at least I wasn't when I recorded that pod a day and a half ago or a day ago. I don't know. Tonight was pretty damn good. I am nothing if not someone who is not able to stand on my convictions. I'll say that. Adam, Julius Randle for Jeremy Grant and a couple firsts. You're not. What does Detroit want with Julius Randle? They don't want Julius Randle. Stars, aka Brooklyn. Love the show. Thank you, Stars. Keep Mitch, Jeremy Grant, ? Again, I'm gonna actually have a write-up on Jeremy Grant in the newsletter tomorrow, so I don't want to spoil it. In short, I don't think Jeremy Grant makes a ton of sense if you're talking about adding him to a Randle-centric team, because Jeremy Grant's a power forward. He shouldn't be playing the three. Now, if you're talking about some kind of a three-way deal where you send Randle, I mean, you want a crazy trade here? I'll give you a crazy trade. And again, the money doesn't work out exactly, so there would need to be some other salaries here and picks and whatnot. But send Randle to Portland. Have Portland send money to Detroit or expiring like Covington or maybe they want to get off CJ McCollum. Whatever. Portland sends something to Detroit. Detroit sends Jeremy Grant to the Knicks. The Knicks get something. The Knicks would probably have to get something. They would surely ask for something. They'd ask for a cursory pick, a first-round pick, a fake first-round pick, a first that converts into 2 seconds, whatever. Detroit would have to get something out of it too, because they're giving up Jeremy Grant. So, I don't know. Is it worth it for? I mean, maybe if I'm talking out loud here. Maybe if Portland were able to turn Robert Covington into Julius Randle, maybe that would be worth 2 first-round picks for them. I don't know. Or a first-round pick and Anthony Simons. Maybe Simons goes to Detroit or something, and we get Grant. I don't know. Just talking out loud here. But look, there's all stuff. Andrew's asking me to explain the crow. Okay, so before I move on in the super chat, so early on in the season, after RJ was in the midst of his rampage, 4 or 5 straight really good games, my good buddy Yash from St. Louis, my one-time trial ad student, sent me this crow because of all of the hemming and hawing and hedging I have done about RJ over the years. And so this crow was meant for me to eat. So thank you, Yash. Thank you for Mr. Crow to be here. Sean Ford, always feel I'll get to King DJ's comment in a second. Sean Ford, always feel so much better about this team when RJ looks legit. It changes your entire outlook on the team. Thank you so much for saying that, because again, I have no questions about Quickly. I have no questions about Toppin for what he is. I don't really have any questions about Grimes. When RJ looks the part of a true number 2/number 3, man, on a really good team, or dare I say a great team, it changes everything. Because then you could really talk yourself into okay, we're a guy away. Like, what can you turn Randall into? Or can you turn Randall into something and then you flip that something with picks and whatever else? You know, you can talk yourself into stuff. It all changes when RJ's going good. Great comment. Um, More from Sean Ford. This was RJ's most impressive 30-point game to me. Completely agree. Took it into the paint and made plays. And I'll add, just looked comfortable and confident. Never forced it. Giving up the ball. The play where he gave up the ball and got it back for the three, just gorgeous. Not forcing anything. Nothing forced. So King DJ asks, what about Sacramento Randall for Fox? I don't think they're giving up Fox for Randall. I don't even think they give up Halliburton for Randall. Harrison Barnes for Randall? It's when I first started thinking about the possibility of a Randall trade this year, when my good friend and co-host Jeremy Cohen first incepted the idea into my brain, by referring back to the Blake Griffin trade from LA to Detroit. My immediate thought was Randall to Sacramento for Barnes felt to me a lot like Griffin to Detroit for Tobias Harris. A player who is not as flashy a player, is not the creator, not the same level of creator, but is as just more of a sound basketball player. Now, the difference between that and this is Blake Griffin was still having a pretty freaking good year for the Clippers that season. Julius Randle is having obviously a terrible year for the Knicks. I didn't really spend a lot of time thinking about it because I didn't think the Knicks would send Julius Randle to Sacramento. Now, I'm not so sure. I still don't think they would, but I'd be surprised. I'd be surprised. Nicholas D. Oliveira? No. Oliveira. I think I got that right. Enjoyed Fournier's game. Yeah, Fournier played a nice game tonight. Played within himself. Shot it when he should shoot it. Putting the ball on the floor, driving. I think he's taking more and more confidence. Agree. Whatever. Thank you for your live streams. Very appreciated from a French fan. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, shout out to Fournier. Look, Fournier reached a low point a week ago. He's come back in a big way. The 41-point game tonight. I know he missed the last game. I'm here for a Fournier rebound, 100%. My good buddy, my main man, the one and only David Futternick in the chat. Crow Parmesan, Maron, time to manja. I'll drink to that. Daniel Chang, Julius needs the All-Star break to come and fast. I hope we didn't Dennis Smith this guy. Goodness gracious. Andrew Claudio just chimed in. The capital of France is Paris. I know that one. Congratulations, Andrew. Anyway, free Obi and arrest David Fizdale for fraud and theft. Man. Yeah, free Obi. Again, it's simple with Obi. Who do you have setting him up? It's a possibility he could be one of the best finishers in the league if given the opportunity to do so. I know he had a couple of not so great moments defensively. I still think I think Tom, if Obi Toppin was like basically given to Tom as his starting power forward, I think he'd make it work. I do think the defensive stuff would bother Tibbs a little bit, just because it's stuff that you feel like, against a really good team and like a playoff. Here's the question. In a playoff series, do you trust Obi Toppin's defense? Again, there are so many reasons we don't need to ask that question right now. But at the same time, if you're talking about factoring in the Obi Toppin of it all as part of the should we trade or should we not trade Julius Randle discussion, like you kind of do need to talk about Obi Toppin's ceiling on a high-level team. Second-year player. Can he continue to improve? He's improved his defense a lot from year one to year two. I have confidence in him. I like him. I just think, maybe he's not there yet right now. We'll see. Matt from Australia, where we know the capital of Australia. Couldn't ask for more today. IQ and RJ killed it, with Obi dunks being the perfect cherry on top. Yeah, completely agree. Good stuff. Andrew, again, reminding me to remind you, gently tap your mouse pad or mouse or whatever to get the likes up. We appreciate it. Robert Cross. Hashtag the hashtag. I'm going to start calling Robert Cross the hashtag. Hashtag 53 wins. First time, long time. How high do you think RJ Barrett's ceiling is? His ceiling has never been in question to me. His ceiling has never been in question to me. His ceiling has always been and continues to be an all-star player. How many all-star? I don't know. A guy who can make a couple of all-star teams. 2, 3, you know. That's never been in question. To me, what this year has put into question is not RJ's ceiling, it's his floor. Because and shout out to my buddy Bernardo Zarowski, co-host of America's fastest growing niche movie podcast sensation, Final Review. We were texting about this today, and like RJ's age gets brought up a lot, right? That he's 21 years old, which is obviously there's merit to introducing that into the discussion. At the same time, we've also been told since this kid was 15 years old, like he's the most like NBA ready, not the most NBA ready player, but like he was NBA ready from an early age. He had been trained by his dad. He had been built for this. And so that's why I think anyone who does have concerns about the games where RJ does not look so good in year 3, there is some validity to that because of, again, the purported like NBA readiness. Now, the counter to that is how bad he was as a rookie. And he was so bad as a rookie in so many areas of the game, and he did improve considerably in so many ways from year 1 to year 2, which is why my thing I always come back to was like, let's talk about this after this year is over. And I'd like to talk about this after this year is over. That's when it's a good time to have what is RJ's ceiling, what is RJ's floor, what is RJ's trade value, all that good, what should RJ's next contract be, despite the fact that I wrote about it the other day. That's the appropriate time to have all these conversations. Let me get a full third year in the books because, hey, guess what? If RJ goes on and plays like this or 85% of this for the rest of the year, well, then fuck it. The conversation is over. He's a future star. Okay, let's move on. Kenny Rose. What's going on, Kenny? Randall looks like he's zoned out at home now. Team responding to RJ taking over. I love IQ and he's getting better. He is getting better. Like, talk about a guy who steady growth. Emmanuel Quickly. Like, again, is Quickly ceiling as high as RJ? No, it's not. He's like RJ's built like a brick shit house, and if he could shoot it, and if he could finish it, and if he keeps passing like he did tonight, well, then there's your all-star. Quickly doesn't have that ceiling, but man, I am just so confident in that he is going to hit whatever his ceiling is. So yeah, shout out to IQ. Can we play this way versus the Mavs? Man, that Mavs game. Oh boy. I'm not saying it's a must-win because, look, if they come out of this week 2-1, if they win one of the next 2 games, I'll sign for it. I honestly, if they lose to the Mavs and then they beat the Hawks, I'll sign for it because, those are tough games. And then they have some winnable games the following week, although you never know with this team. If they could beat the Mavs, though, that would be impressive. I'd be really impressed because the Mavs are playing not as well as any team in basketball, but they're playing really well. So let's see what they could do against some old friends, as it were. Okay, I hope I didn't lose any super chats. If I did, Andrew will have my back. Okay, I got Cassius Clay's the next super chat that I got up here. So Andrew, hit me up if I missed one. If RJ was featured like this since the beginning of the season, does he look like a fringe all-star? It's a great question. So here's the thing. I think if he was featured from the beginning of the season, he would not look like this more often than not. I think more often than not, he would look not as good. Because here's the thing. RJ has had a lot of games where he has kind of tried to get into it and it hasn't looked great. And I think there would be an even mix. So my answer is no, and I also think it's because if they had featured RJ so much, I don't have a whole lot of confidence that their record would be much better than it is. Um, that said, if the question is like, if they had featured RJ Barrett from game one and got him more and more and more reps of being the guy, would would it be easier to sit here and be like, oh yes, that guy is a future all-star because I see it. I think that's absolutely fair. Um, we just don't know. And it's a fascinating organizational pivot point as well. Because ultimately what they do, as much as we love to talk about Obi Toppin, for me, what they do with Julius Randle has 1,000% more to do with what they think of RJ Barrett than what they think of Obi Toppin. I think they kind of know what Obi Toppin is. It's if RJ Barrett could be this, well, then can you rejigger your roster and rotation in a way that just makes more sense? Um, Chris Carter, boos for Randall and Obi Chance after the sub. Maybe not related, but doesn't look like the Garden crowd is letting go of thumbs down gate anytime soon. Nor should they be. Nor should they be. If you come out, it's the three. He hit the trifecta. He came out and he did that stupid shit and yelled at everybody at the top of his lungs. Then he went and doubled down on it in the post game. He didn't say, I got in my feelings for a moment. I shouldn't have done that. I love New York. I love the crowd. No. He was given a chance to get out of it, and he said, yeah, I told him to shut the fuck up. And then to fucking put the icing on the cake, he put out a statement that did not, in one part of that statement, contain the word apology or sorry. Which is basically his way of saying, you know what? I did what I did. I shouldn't have done it because it's caused me a headache. But you know what? I'm not sorry. And I feel like I was right to do it. So fuck all of you. So no, I don't think the Garden crowd should have any sympathy for Julius Randle. You brought this on yourself. Get yourself the fuck out of it. You know, you want to be treated like a fucking big boy? Put on your big boy pants. Because I'm sick of this shit. Anyway, this is from the regular chat from Dom the dentist, or maybe from the super chat. I don't know. How do you feel about going back to Point Burks, considering how well Quick is playing? That's a good question. And would you trade for Turner or stick with Mitch at this point? God, talk about things I've been on both sides of the fence on. Is starting Quickly or not? I don't know. Quickly's really impressed me the last couple games. Quickly, this is from the super chat. Thank you for your contribution, Dom the dentist. Quickly's really impressed me the last few games. My argument for keeping him off the bench is I do think that is his long-term role on a good team, on a great team. And I think they need his energy off the bench. And I think, honestly, his energy off the bench really helped them tonight. I don't know. There's a good argument to start him. Let's just say that. There's a good argument to start him. As for Mitch and Turner, again, give me a little bit more consistency from Mitch. Give me a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, this from Taxi Driver. I think Berman had an article tonight suggesting our front office isn't sold on Randall and he could be flipped for Turner or Grant. So, yeah, I mean, shout out to anyone who was on the Knicks Film School halftime Zoom for all the subscribers to the newsletter. The person who said it didn't want me to reveal their name, so I won't give them credit. But someone mentioned that they had heard that the front office was, they'd listen. They'd listen, that Randall's not off the table. I've said and I don't want to take, this is not like me reporting this, but based on my information, I've said from, I think, a while now that they would trade Randall if they could get a star in return for Randall. Now, what is your definition of a star? Miles Turner's not a star. Jeremy Grant is like, I mean, God, if you really fucking squint, I guess, but not really. Have they lessened they're asking. I mean, is that still true? I don't know. Maybe it's not true anymore. But again, I bring it back to RJ Barrett. If this is what RJ Barrett's going to look like, and again, he's looked like this for two out of the last 4 games, has looked better after being just terrible for the better part of 6 weeks. I don't know. It all comes down to what they can get. It all comes down to what they can get. Flausta, 15 to 17 efficient points from Randall on a daily basis would be great. I'd sign for that. Even greater when RJ and Evan are scoring more than 15 points each. But again, I think we're now halfway through this season. This notion that Julius Randle, and this is again yet another reason why I'm hard on him. I have called throughout the year for Randle to embrace being a different player. And I get the sense that he embraces that like here and there and fits and starts begrudgingly. Not fully. It's almost like when he does the stuff that you want him to do as like a guy who, and again, this isn't all on him. It's on Tibbs too. Like when he does have those moments, it's like, all right, I got to do this so I can get back to doing what I really want to do. I just don't. I don't think we're going to see a different version of Randall. I think Randall, as long as he's here, is going to be this guy or try to be this guy. Which is frustrating. And again, he is still the only guy that can routinely draw doubles unless RJ is going to be this consistently. Which again brings it all back to RJ. From Abdoulaye Diallo, RJ and JB working on the in-between game pregame is big. RJ and JB. Oh, Johnny Bryant. Yes. His in-between game softens up the defense for kickouts and drives. Completely agree with that. The mid-range, I mean, the mid-range is dead. Long live the mid-range. Like the mid-range is still going to open up so much. If you can't hit that you have to be able to hit that little mid-ranger. It's as big for Quickly as it is for RJ. Yeah, he can be a serviceable number 2. Completely agree with that. Thank you, Andrew. Okay. Next up, you guys are on fire tonight. Thank you so much for everybody in the chat, everybody watching. We're still at 700 people watching. Just incredible stuff. This from my buddy Jason M. Wow, if this keeps getting worse, do you think the fans could be forcing the front office to trade Randall? Has that ever happened before in the NBA? No, I don't think so. And I don't think that's why the front office will do it. I think they'll do it because they're like, we made a mistake here. And this is not going to get better. It's going to get worse. That's why they trade him, I think, if they trade him. And again, who knows? Who knows? I'm going to be very, very, very hesitant and cautious before I go full on. Yeah, I think they'll trade Randall. But we'll see. This from Jeremy E. Julius Randle holds RJ back. Discuss. It's funny because they seem to really like each other and they seem to have a real good rapport. And at the same time, it sure as shit seemed to get under Randall's skin when the crowd was chanting RJ Barrett at the end of the Pacers game when Randall had it going. And I think that had a lot to do with Randall with the thumbs down and the yelling at the crowd. I'm not going to say he holds him back because when Randall does draw doubles and Randall does open up stuff for RJ on occasion. But I just think in terms of, again, the question that was asked earlier, and I think it's the best question. Like, what does RJ Barrett look like at this point if in year 3 now they just gave him the offense and said, here, learn on the fly? That's a good question. This is from Louise Haru. Sorry, I hope I got that right. If it's Lewis, I apologize. I think it's Louise. Epic team win tonight. So good to see RJ and IQ cooking. Love RJ with the bench. Topping with some elite OB slams. injected into my veins, baby. Go Knicks. Yeah, I mean, let's just spell that out. RJ with the bench. What are we really talking about here? We're talking about RJ with Quickly. We're talking about RJ with Grimes. We're talking about RJ or Burks. We're talking about RJ with Obi. He runs the show. You got a dynamic guard and Quickly alongside of him playing his role as a number two. You got you probably like Burks a little bit better with that because Burks is still a little bit more capable of more on ball stuff than Grimes at this point. Although Grimes, I think, has the edge defensively already, which is crazy to say about a rookie. And then the bench. And here's the other thing: I actually really liked Taj in those minutes because Taj, such a good screen setter, and he also and RJ utilized this tonight. Taj gives you the option of, hey, if I'm going to drive, it's not just the dunker spot. That's my outlet here. Taj can step out to 10 or 12 or 14 feet and hit that shot. That's massive. And if you are talking about a Julius a Miles Turner trade in the works, Miles Turner's ability to do some stuff out on the perimeter, or at the very least, not just in the paint, that's a nice boon for RJ as well. Okay. Let's keep it going. Robert McGinley. So many good things to focus on tonight instead of redacted. Thank you to Robert, my newsletter subscriber here. Hope everybody enjoyed that bit today. Maybe wrong, but just don't see how they could hang on to him if this keeps up. I'll be shocked if he's on the roster next season. Let's go Knicks. I'll go. Oh, goodness gracious. I'll go 50-50 right now that Julius is here next season. You know, takes a lot to make big trades in the NBA. I don't know. Maybe I go a little bit worse than 50-50. Maybe I go 45-55 that he is here. 55-45 that he's not. Yeah, I don't know. Somebody else I see, King DJ says again, what about Sacramento? Again, if they're willing to trade him there, and Sacramento is like, yeah, we think we're Julius Randle away from doing something nice here. Like, I don't even care who you give us back. I'll pull up Sacramento's salary cap. I'll throw some fake Kings trades at you if you want. First, let me get to Hush Zoo. I'm loving IQ's mid-range game so much. Do you think with how much pressure is on Randall and how poorly he's handling it, it will force the front office to get a number one option ASAP for him and relieve pressure? I think it's more likely that they trade him for the simple reason that I don't think it's that easy to go get a number one option. Like, I don't think this team is going to go and trade. Like, if you're the Knicks front office, would you give up whatever? Like, who are the number one options that are available? By my count, it's two. Only two. It's Damian Lillard, and if I don't even know if you consider Ben Simmons the number one option. And like, are you mortgaging the farm to add Ben Simmons or Dame Lillard to Julius Randle? And like, do you feel like you would feel confident about that as a front office, giving up God knows what number of picks and young players it would take to make those moves? Like, I'm sorry, I don't see the front office doing that. I think it's more likely they trade him. As unlikely as I still think that is. Jesse D. Body language was awful. Can't argue that. But all Randall's games to get upset with, this ain't it for me. Got out of the way and finished as a plus 16. That's a fair comment, Jesse. I appreciate that. It's good to balance out the conversation. He did defer, and he willingly deferred. Like, look, there's a lot of stars who would have kept shooting. Randall took 7 shots. He knew it wasn't his night. Now, I would love to know what he was complaining about, who he was complaining to. I'd love to be able to peek into his head tonight. But yeah, no, that's a fair comment. I appreciate that one, Jesse. Adam with a nice one. LeBron for Randall straight up. Who says no? I don't know. It's a tough one. I don't know. It's tough, tough, tough. Here's a fun one. I don't even want to say this out loud. Again, this is this is not possible because um, the Lakers have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. So what are they going to do? Play LeBron at small forward again? But like, if the who says no? LeBron for Russ. Again, the money doesn't work. Russ is making way too much money, so the Knicks would have to send back more salary. But like, if the Lakers are like, yeah, we'll toss in, our 2027 first round pick, and you could have Russ. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I were. I mean, even if the money worked out, I wouldn't do it. I hate Russell Westbrook's my least favorite player in the league. And if you think Randall is getting in the way of RJ, well, oh boy. What did I say? RJ for Russ, Randall for Russ. That's what I meant. Sorry if I said it. I meant Randall for Russ. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, if you think Randall's getting in the way of RJ, you ain't seen nothing yet. Parrish Duggar. Oh, I said LeBron for Russ. Oh, I'm sorry. The crow says hi. Parrish Duggar. Randall had a power forward game. Rebounds, assists, picks. Yeah, sure. That's fair. Greg Film stuff. I fear that Tibbs will turn Toppin into Knox. I don't think we're there yet. Also, Knox isn't good. Toppin's good. Toppin can do real NBA stuff. Knox can't. He favors Randall, and it's to the detriment of our high voltage battery, Obi, on the bench and the team. New York has to choose between RJ Obi development and Randall, and it's a no-brainer. I don't think it's quite as simplistic as that, and I don't look again. This notion that here's why I always push back upon this like Tibbs hates Obi or whatever. Like Tibbs knows what he has in Obi. Any idiot knows what he has in Obi. It's very clear what the guy could do, and it's very clear what he still struggles at. He doesn't stretch the floor right now. He can't hit a three. And on defense, like he's gonna get beat and he's gonna have his moments. But he's also a beast in transition and he tries his ass off. And he's a good cutter, he's a good passer. Like we know what we have in Obi. I keep going back to it. This is about trying to get Randall right, and even if it's to just try to get his value up and get him playing well again, like I don't know. I have a lot more sympathy for Tibbs than most people. The NYOG, didn't Randall play for Gentry in New Orleans? I believe he did. That's a good one. That's a good thought. I mean, is Gentry going to be the long-term coach in Sacramento? Who knows? Here's another one that's an interesting one for me. Like we keep talking about how they wouldn't trade Randall for Fox because you're not going to trade a Kentucky guy for a Kentucky guy. You're going to bring the Kentucky guys together. Well, is it possible that Randall going to Sacramento to play with a Kentucky guy would be potentially to his liking? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for the contribution, Greg. Again, I'm always going to push back on the Tibbs stuff because he's a guy his team's a game under 500, and his best player has played like dog shit. And we complain about him because of how he is responding to his best player playing like dog shit and his potential role in his best player playing like dog shit. But best players playing like dog shit, and the team's a game under 500 in a really tough conference in a up and down league. Up and down year, rather, for them. New pieces, the whole thing. Again, I gave Tibbs, for anybody who missed it, a C, or I think I gave him a C on the last post game. I stand by that. He's done an average job. I think he's done a great job. He's done an average job. We're over 300 likes. My goodness, thank you guys. Really, seriously, it helps us out. Helps us get noticed, and that's a good thing. Jeremy Blaustein. I've supported Julius, but that missed dunk. Shake my head. Most emotionally problematic New York player since Darryl Strawberry. Well, Darryl Strawberry and his Tony Montana size mounds of cocaine would like to have a word as well with why Darryl Strawberry did not, succeed in New York. And oh, by the way, Darryl Strawberry had a pretty good second go round with the Yankees. That was in New York. That said, yes, that is a fair comment. I don't know if he's the most emotionally problematic player. There's been a lot of emotionally problematic players, a lot of whom have played for the Yankees. Talk about guys who have struggled. A lot of guys put on those pinstripes and they forget how to play baseball. Um, I don't know, but Julius is completely in his own head. Completely in his own head. So, yeah. Greg eat the crow. Do you really you want me to eat the crow? It's hard. I don't know. How would you cook crow? Saute it, I guess. Saute it, obviously brown it on both sides, and then maybe do a little something. Yeah, I'm not sure. Brave the cold for some prime seeds from Greg Moran. Brave the cold for some prime seeds tonight. RJ, congratulations. RJ controlled the whole game. You love to see it. Julius looked visibly dejected throughout the game. Hope he's going to be all right mentally. We're at the stage where we now have people being like, I hope that man is okay. Not that player. I hope that person is okay. That's how bad it is. The rest of the team was A+. Yeah, no complaints about anybody else. What else we got here? Kevin Danishevsky. What do you make of Obi being pissed when he got taken out? I think he's a frustrated player who wants more minutes. I wouldn't read too much into it in terms of he's out on Tibbs or out on the team or wants to be traded or any of that. I think he's just, I think he's just frustrated. I'd be frustrated too. For trade ideas, I still want to get Randall to LA to team up with his buddy AD. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how either. Kareem Asur, honest question. What has Kenny Payne been doing this year? I thought he was the big man whisperer and Randall is garbage. That's a fair question. Mitch hasn't been great. He's been okay in spots, good in spots, great in spots. Randall's been bad. Obi's been good at the stuff that Obi's good at. Yeah, it's a fair critique. And Noel hasn't seen the court. And Taj is amazing. Emil Beaumansour. The fan situation must be getting to Randall. It is part of being a star. Look at the John Morant situation. He goes out after and gets back-to-back player of the week. Randall needs to shut the fans up with his play. Yeah, again, the Morant thing. And notice how Morant did it. He was out for a period of time. The Grizzlies did great. He came back, and I think they lost the first game or whatever it was. And he, there were some fans that apparently said something to him like, hey, go back on the sidelines. We were doing better without you. Which is such a fucking ridiculous thing to say about John Morant, who's so clearly amazing. But put that aside. He went in the postgame after, and he wasn't he didn't try to beat around the bush. He was honest. He's just like, I've never heard that before. That really hurt. And I don't know, maybe this is too woke of me to say, but it takes a big, you have to be a man to have the confidence to be like, yeah, when people said that they wanted me to go back on the sidelines, that hurt my feelings, which is essentially what John Morant said. That was big of him. And it was really mature, and he's gone out and he's been, I don't know, the best player in basketball for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah. But that's John Morant. Julius Randle's not John Morant. He's nowhere close to John Morant. So I don't know that I have the confidence that he is going to find that confidence to be better. I think he's shaken to the core. Thanks for the super chat, Netcham Brown. Appreciate it. Ryan Owang. Not a bad game for someone who won't break the Charlie Ward curse. I deserve that one. Thank you. Christian Finnegan. Huge RJ believer, but he has to be the most blocked player in the NBA. He does get blocked a lot. There are stats out there on that. I don't know how to access them. I'll be honest. I've looked. and I can't find them. I'm sure someone here knows how to get them, but I'm terrible at Google. I think it's because he always takes one too many steps under the basket before rising up. I think he's getting better at it. I think it's not the end of the world. It's it's the falling and not getting back in transition on defense that bother me more. As long as he stays like, oh, that's a sign the crow fell. As long as he stays upright, then it's okay. Okay, Jeremy Chase, what's going on, Jeremy? How you doing? The Jules stuff reminds me of Roger Maris saying, "Maybe I'm not a New York kind of guy." See, but here's the thing: Julius was the most New York kind of guy just a year ago. We saw it. We loved him. He loved us. He loved everything about the city. He signed on the dotted line. But it's like in New York, you have to be willing to take the bad with the good, and it can't get to you. Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, back to the comment and getting hate even when he was hitting 61. Jules ain't hitting 61, but once the hate starts, it's hard to stop in New York City. But again, I'll push back on that. It's a good comment, but the only devil's advocate is like Julius got all the hate in the world his first year here. So, I don't know. I don't know. Anthony Sixto, a lot going on with this team that confuses me. But props to Taj. Oh, always here for props to Taj. Taj Cullins. Nothing particular, just props to him for being Taj consistently. Yeah, I think I wrote something in my notes about how Taj had a really nice moment in this game. His pick and roll defense on the last San Antonio possession of the first quarter was just like textbook. But he does that a lot because he's Taj Gibson. He's fucking awesome. Hashtag Taj Mabal. That has an interesting ring to it. I see my hold on, where'd it go? I think I just lost it here. Jonas Plout. How about a trade centered on Randall and oh boy, here we go. John Collins. That's an interesting one. John Collins. Broke my brain. Would Atlanta do that? Why would Atlanta do that? So Collins is shooting well from downtown. But he's also a guy who's not happy with his role there. It seems, but maybe wants more of a role. Although he got paid. He is not a good defender. Man. Like I'm not a big John Collins guy. It's also like we have Obi Toppin. So like if you're trading for John Collins, then just be a little patient, wait for Obi Toppin to develop his jump shot, have faith that he's going to do that, and then guess what? You got John Collins. So I don't know about that trade. I'm just wondering if Atlanta would do that, and I don't know the answer. I honestly. Shout out to my man Richard Bourne Vanek, who unfortunately can't ever get into the super chat because he's in the Virgin Islands. Come on, Virgin Islands, just get with the program here. Okay, I think we're good. As promised, I will go through. Yeah, Andrew just made a good point. He texted me. Atlanta's not trading for someone to take the ball out of Trey's hands. Yeah, yes, I agree. I mean, I think their defense has been atrocious this year. They have like the bottom 5 defense. So that's really probably where they need more help. So Tibbs after the game, when he was asked about Randall, said winning's important to him. That's what I want everyone's focus to be. There's going to be ups and downs throughout the course of the year. You got to be mentally tough when you face adversity. Everyone does. It's probably the most important thing in life. That's interesting response. Okay. Let's look at hold on. Did Andrew send me something else? Oh, I may have missed a few. So if I missed your chat or your super chat, Andrew's going to get to you right now. In the meantime, okay, possible Sacramento trade. So can't trade for De'Aaron Fox straight up. Just FYI, the money doesn't work. Julius isn't making enough money. Um, here's one. Oh boy. You want to talk about a trade that Sacramento does in a fucking heartbeat? A heartbeat. Sacramento does this trade. Buddy Hield. So Buddy Hield is not good. he takes a ton of threes and he makes a lot of threes. I'm pretty sure Hield has more threes made than anybody in the league for the last like 2 or 3 years or whatever it is. Like he makes a ton of threes, takes tough threes, whatever his percentage is. I don't really even care what his percentage is. He takes and makes tough threes. He doesn't really do anything else. Defensively, he's not what you want. But like if you're talking about, okay, what can we get for Julius Randle? I think you're talking about the most realistic Sacramento trade for me, at least, is like, okay, Buddy Hield and something. What's the and something? I don't know. Can you get Davion Mitchell along with Buddy Hield? That's too much money, but the Knicks could obviously send someone else back. You know, Randall and Knox for Hield and Davion Mitchell. How's that for a trade? You guys want to do that? You probably do that. I don't know. Maybe you ask for a pick from Sacramento too. So then Sacramento rolls forward with let's see, Fox, Halliburton, Barnes at the 3. I don't know how they feel about that. And then Randall and Rashawn Holmes. Like, I don't know. There's a trade. Again, I'd love Harrison Barnes, but do the Kings want to trade Harrison Barnes? Like, are the Knicks going to trade Randall for Barnes straight up? I don't know. Man, if I could get oh boy, what would I have to give to get Halliburton with Hield for Randall? That's a fun one. Because they're not going to do that straight up. They're going to ask for something else. Oh boy. I just broke my brain. Okay. From D-Zilla. RJ Barrett is a 1A. As a 1A. Sorry, I can't read. RJ Barrett as a 1A is the team we all deserve to watch the rest of the year. Keep shooters around him and up the tempo. And for anybody who's advocating for Obi and thinks Obi has this great ceiling and and wants to see Obi more and all that good stuff. Andrew, I'm ready. Yeah. That's what you want, because if the offense flows through RJ, you're getting a lot of RJ, and then quickly, and then Burks, and when he comes back, Kemba, maybe, and when he comes back, Rose, maybe. All those guys, that's all drive and create and penetrate and like the whole thing. And Obi's the beneficiary of all that, along with Mitch. That's a nice team. From CT Pittman, watching the post-game interview and the fact that Tibbs addressed the fan situation definitely lets me know it bothers Julius. It absolutely it bothers him. Absolutely it bothers him. So again, our from the Knicks Film School account, this also from Tibbs. There's no better place to play in the NBA. I think everyone would tell you that, talking about MSG, obviously. There's an appreciation for him, for Randall. Don't get wrapped up in either praise or criticism. Lock in. When we play well, we know how much our fans love this team, and we love them. First of all, good job by Tibbs not dare question the fans. Not that I think he even wanted to do that or thought about doing that. He's being a good politician there. I just, this has now become a thing. Like, this is not just a Knicks Twitter, post-game super chat thing. This is a thing. It's a thing. It's crazy. RJ Barrett is maybe the best game of his career, and this is all we can talk about. And I don't even blame anybody. From Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? Sorry, I somehow missed all of these. Hope Frank and Reggie get standing ovations when they return. I'm here for both of them and Theo Pinson. And Theo Pinson. Timmy will give you a golf clap. And what's up with Noel? Will be interesting to see the rotation when he and Kemba are back. I mean, I don't know what's going on with Noel. Quite frankly, I don't really care what's going on with Noel. I don't miss Noel one iota. Give me Mitch and Taj. You know. Yeah, I hope they get standing ovations too. This is from Barry Craver. What's going on, Barry? Leon whiffed in 3 ways. Oh boy, we got some Leon criticism. Drafting Obi over Halliburton. I mean, it's fair. Signing Fournier again. I'm gonna revert back to what everybody was saying at the time. We all loved it at the time. But again, even like as much as we have said, and I have said, that Fournier does not fit the ethos of this team, and that who knows where the problems trickle down from, and do they trickle down from replacing Bullock, who's a defense first guy, and the whole thing with Fournier? Like, how much of this is just Randall just being bad? Like, if Randall was not this bad, would we be saying all the shit that we're saying about Fournier? Like, I know Fournier's been terrible on defense. Randall's been just as bad. I don't know. And number 3, letting Theo Pinson get away. That I'll kill Leon Rose for. Man, they miss that guy badly. Yes, they do. I still have high hopes for Obi. I'm becoming less and less confident that's going to happen here. I hope I'm wrong. My God, if they ever traded Julius Randle and kept Obi Toppin and started Obi and like ran plays for Obi and centered a lot of the offense around getting Obi lobs and pick and rolls and the whole thing, my goodness, would I be happy as a pig in shit. This is another one from CT Pittman. After becoming relevant and ditching LOL Knicks takes, what would trading Julius Randle do to the culture we've built and relevancy of finally being a stable franchise? I'm so happy you asked this, and I can't believe that I didn't say it explicitly earlier because I should have. I think people around the league, fans, media, whatever, would maybe not other teams, and maybe some players would have some mixed opinions on it, but I think they would look at it as like, great job by the Knicks not being like, well, this guy gave us our best season, our only good season in the last 10 years, or one of our only good seasons in the last 20 years. We have to keep him. We have to make this work, and continue slamming their head into a wall. I think they would get a lot of praise and a lot of credit for looking in the mirror and being like, yeah, well, guess what? What we thought was the Julius Randle we were getting is not the Julius Randle we got. And good job by them to wake up and be like, you know what? Let's move on and get out while they could. I think that would be the response, as opposed to going and trading assets to try to add to a Julius core, which is like, I really just don't want them to do that. And like, that's what doesn't make any sense to me. Sean, hold on. Actually, sorry. We got Luke Orso. Would you bring back Bagley in the Sacramento trade? Kenny Payne could unlock some of that potential. I'm over the Bagley thing. It's year 4. Like, if we have to take him on as salary, that's fine. I'm happy to take him on as salary and see what he does. But I'm not like, he will not be considered an asset in the deal for me. This is from Sean Ford. Randall and Burks for Kevin Love and Sexton. Who says no? I mean, I think the Cavs say no. Like, you have Kevin Love there. Like, go watch that. I mean, I'm not saying you don't watch that team play, but like, just anybody, go watch the team play. Like, Kevin Love comes in, accepts his role off the bench. He's happy off the bench. makes great passes, hits threes, can still do some damage in the post. Um, you know, descending contract, I think. Descending contract, or maybe I made that up. Maybe it's not. It makes a lot of money either way. It's a lot of money. Like why would the Cavs do that? And like Julius Randle is not. He's not going to go start um, there because it's Mobley and and Jared Allen. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna get a pouty Julius Randle to bitch and moan about coming off the bench? Cleveland says no. This one from Kevin Danishevsky. Stephon Marbury was much more emotionally problematic. Marbury definitely got into his emotions at times. This is another one from D Zilla. What's going on, D? Also, if last year's Randall was a beloved icon, now this year's Randall is absolutely brutal. Is he a milkshake duck? Hashtag free Danielle Fishel. If that is not the comment of the year, and I don't even know what milkshake duck is, but that's the free Danielle Fishel. That got me. Well done. Well played. This from Final Review Pod. What is your favorite Wes Craven movie? You're gonna force me to go to the internet for this because I don't want to say something that's not true. My inclination, even though I have not seen it in a very long time, my inclination is to just say Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, the obvious answer is Scream. Scream means more to me because I was born in 1983, which I'm pretty sure was after Nightmare on Elm Street came out. I've seen all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. There are some other good ones that I enjoyed or I remember enjoying when I saw them when I was like 12 years old. I'm looking through the filmography right now. Let me see if there's. Oh my God! I forgot about The People Under the Stairs. The People Under the Stairs. I saw that movie in the movie theater as an 8-year-old, and that movie fucked me up because let me tell you, those people under those fucking stairs, there's some fucked up people under there, and they messed me up. I was bothered by that film. Very bothered. So yeah. Nightmare on Elm Street, by the way, 1984. Bad job by me. I'm still gonna go with Nightmare on Elm Street or Scream. With the People Under the Stairs being a respectable third. Okay. Shout out to Panga. Awesome job. Rich McLeod. Fast forward the last 15 minutes of today's KFS pod. Oh, yeah, anybody who's wondering why I'm talking about any of this, or why we're talking about Topanga or Danielle Fishel. Okay, this one from Manny Campos. We're going, by the way, 75 minutes on this postgame. This is fantastic. Manny Campos. John, were you also a Kelly Kapowski kind of guy? Oh, my goodness gracious. We're really going to get into this now? So, yes. Yes, I was a Kelly Kapowski kind of guy. I have a Kelly Kapowski t-shirt that is a little too small for me at the moment because I need to go for a run and get my fat ass in shape. But I love Kelly Kapowski. I would say the power rankings for me go Kelly Kapowski probably does have to be number one, but Topanga's really close. Kelly Kapowski 1, Topanga 2, Stephanie Tanner a strong third. I'm trying to think who even gets in that conversation. I don't even know who gets in that conversation. That's a tough top three to crack. If you're a man of my age. I mean, who's your 90210 preferred person? I don't know. I was never a Brenda girl. But I was also never a. Oh my God, I can't think of the blonde. What's the blonde's name? who went with Dylan, would choose between Dylan and Brandon. I liked Amanda, even though she was like 40 on the show. I always liked Amanda. I was digging the glasses. Yeah, that's all I got. I'll try to think of some more, but yeah, Kapowski, Topanga, Stephanie Tanner. That's my wheelhouse. 500 patients, and John will wear the Kelly Kapowski T-shirt on a post-game pod. I need to run a lot to fit into that shirt. So let's Jenny Garth, thank you, Jenny Garth, thank you. Any other oh, Pink Ranger. Yes, the Pink Ranger. Oh my God, what was the Pink Ranger's name? The Pink Ranger was awesome. I loved the Pink Ranger. And then hold on, one more. It's all coming back to me now. The other girl on Buffy, not the redhead. Someone help me out. Was it Buffy? I think it was Buffy. Was it Buffy? I'm pretty sure the other girl on Buffy, not the redhead and not Buffy. Who was that? No, it wasn't Cordelia. I think I might be even thinking of the wrong show. My goodness. I'm struggling right now. There was a I'm gonna think of this one. Elijah Dushku. Thank you. Yes. Elijah Dushku. Elijah Dushku was for a period of time number one on my list. Shout out to Elijah Dushku. Shout out to Adam for bringing up Elijah Dushku. Andrew just texted me. My take: Kelly the Pink Ranger hotter than Kelly Kapowski. Well, that's a take. I'm not sure if I'm there with you, but that is a take. Man, I'm really, really happy that we ended on this note. Anyway, also cursory shout outs to Buffy and Nev Campbell on Party of Five. They're all winners in my book. And Seinfeld over Friends. Okay, that's enough talk about teenage John. We will be back with you for more basketball talk after Knicks play the Dallas Mavericks on Wednesday night. Until then, enjoy the beginning of your week, and we will talk to you. Hold on, I have to read this. Kelly cheated on Zach with the dude who worked at the Bayside. Chris Brown has a line about this. Did he cheat on him? Did she cheat on him? I don't think she cheated on him. I think there was something going on. Andrew seems to be convinced that she cheated on him. Kelly Kapowski would not cheat on Zach Morris. No, not AC Slater. It was the other guy. Man, how about Zach and Kelly's prom? Zach and Kelly's prom forever. Oh, that hit different. Okay, we're done here. I'll see everybody later. Enjoy the rest of your week. Peace out.